Good evening, Jets of Time fans. This is Ceres.Rose with my possum, with my partner Possum. We are here to commentate a very fun race between Sigil and lordbatsy. How are you doing tonight, Possum?
I'm doing well, series. I appreciate the fantastic intro. I now think of myself as being like a little possum pet or something in your pocket that you're just like bringing around. And you're just like, let me show off this little possum to people. As we get to see Chrono being shown off, and it looks like Frog as well. A couple of hitters early on here for our runners, Sigil and lordbatsy. And look at this. We also have a timer going immediately. This is the best restream ever.
Oh, this is beautiful. I didn't even have time to get into too many weird spiels, but I'll give a quick rundown of what we are racing here. So we've got the Jurassic Rhythm flags, which are the Millennial Pre-flags, which are slightly harder than the Gato Cup flags, if you're familiar with those. Magic is not unlocked, so after your first 3 techs, you have to unlock magic at the end of time. We also have gear rando and healing item rando, so we can potentially see some very strange things like wonder rainbows and such. And the items that we find aren't going to be as good as they are in something like Gato Cup.
Yeah, it looks like right away we see some shelters, some revives, some ethers, some mid tonics, a couple of different items and such as well. Power tabs rolled +4, which with 2/3 of a 3D attack team, I at least am very happy to see power tabs +4.
Yeah, depending on the places we end up going, it's completely feasible that we'll be capped out on power on some of our characters. And an early gate key, so that is huge. Batsy's going to get that soon enough. The early gate key gets us access to a level 15 character in prehistory, and it's also easy magic unlock.
Yeah, the small issue for lordbatsy here is I don't believe they left themselves 9,900 to be able to afford that. So they are going to have to make a potentially tough early decision. Do they need to sell back some shelters and revives, or are they going to go do some other things and maybe do cathedral and not worry about gatekey as we see them leave without buying that? So that's an interesting early point here for Sigil. Maybe a potential advantage having that gatekey right off the rip.
Yeah, there's still stuff that we have to do, so there are opportunities, but it's still an extra trip you have to make. And Dreamstone.
Wow.
So that is, I guess we might as well start talking about go modes now. So we have 3 different go modes in Jets of Time. There is the Tyrannolair go mode, which requires Gate Key, Dreamstone, and Ruby Knife. And then you go through Tyrannolair in 65 million BC. Then you get to Black Omen, and then you get to Lavos. There is the Mage's Castle go mode, which requires the 2 pieces of the Moss Moon and Frog. And then there is the Black Omen go mode, which is Pendant, which gets you access to the future, the Chrono Trigger, and the Clone. Ooh, we have Magic Tab +3 too, so some good tab rolls. So finding Gate Key and Dreamstone this early is very interesting, because not only is that 2 out of 3 pieces of a go mode, but that's also the fastest go mode, and also the go mode that gives you the least strength as you run it. So I know that we had a race earlier in this tournament where we had a similar issue of getting that Tyrannolair go mode almost earlier than you'd like to get it.
Yeah, I would be curious with the early potential go mode, just how quickly we opt, to dive in if we were to find, that third part of that Tyrannolair go mode, that Ruby Knife. So if we come across that, getting through, what is it, Black Tyranno, I believe is the boss's name, or the big dinosaur at the end of Tyrannolair. If you don't have the DPS to get through that, you could be in a world of hurt by the end of that. You might, in fact, even just kind of lock yourself in there. So that would be a big concern. Haven't really seen too much in the way of techs for the runners yet, but for Sigil especially here, just immediately going to unlock magic for Frog and Chrono, that could be really nice. Maybe open up an early Heckling Cave as well to really just blast out those tech points as soon as possible.
Yeah, I imagine that we're going to see both players get the character from the front of Cathedral. You can get the character in Dactyl Nest, but it can be a bit spicy with 2 characters, especially 2 characters at level 1. And, I've had plenty of times where the character at the top of Cathedral was not someone, or at the top of the Dactyl Nest was not someone I particularly cared about. So, So, do you want to tell me how you feel about these 2 characters that we have right now?
Yeah, I am a big fan of these 2 characters, but I also come from the bias of being someone who is new to this rando and who is very familiar with Gato Cup. So for me, Chrono is the best character in the game because, Chrono's big swords are available all the time, all over the place in Gato Cup. That's not necessarily going to be the case here in, the Jurassic Rhythm flags that you might just never find a really good Chrono weapon, and that could be a little bit awkward. So Frog, I think, is a very safe character because you have the heal spell with magic unlocked, and that can allow you to not need to rely on as much of, things like Lapises, which could roll into MP. So I think Frog is a really nice, safe character. I think Chrono is your high roll character, but I would love to find like an Isla here. We saw Magus in the Burrow, so Magus with this particular team, especially since it looks like we have Water Tooth first tech on Frog, Magus is a little bit less required since Frog can do some early sweeping. But I think I'd love to find like an Isla, a Luca, maybe even a Marl to open up like Ice Sword 2, Fire Sword 2, things like that.
And we have Sigil going up to Dactyl Nests, and that's the main concern here is you have those pretty fast enemies, and it's really hard to get into the menu to start doing that runaway. Yeah. These are 2 of the faster characters. I'd be tempted to even just put a speed tab on Chrono or something, just to make sure that we get through this. But I also lost a lot of time in my first race doing this with 2 very slow characters. So I'm probably just a little more afraid of this. We did see a blue rock that Sigil picked up, which is fun, but we've only seen 1 of the blue rock characters so far, and another one is in the Burrow, so probably not going to be the Exodia blue rock seed.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Blue Rock is Magus, Marl, and Luca. Is that right?
It is Magus, Robo, Luca.
Magus, Robo, Luca. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. And here is the concern on Sigil's side is we did not get through enough of the skips and enough of the fights, and we are back to pre-Dactyl Nest, so we're going to maybe come back and try that a little later. Meanwhile, we picked up a Robo on Lordbatsy's side, and a Meso Male with a +1 speed on it, which is actually really nice for Lordbatsy's Chrono that it went on. Looks like we're just going to be pushing pretty hard with this Chrono, this Robo, this Frog, and just going to do what we're going to do. Remains to be seen if we go to the back of the Cathedral here. Robo is not exactly a character I would be super thrilled to see with these other 2, but does open up, I guess, a little more safety. And depending on the early techs, could bring something to the table. But I would be, with the gate key in hand, potentially inclined to look at a different character, even if it means going through the back of Cathedral.
Absolutely. And we've had a few races recently where the character in the back of Cathedral is someone like a Robo, which enables the check for Desert. So we don't have a character in the back. No matter how good they are, they're not going to be a character that's gating anything immediately. It could be a Marl, which can give us items with Prison Shard, but we haven't seen that yet. So with the gate key in hand, I think I'm with you that it's probably safe to just go back there, maybe for the bromide, but then hop out.
Yeah, it looks like Lord Batsy has decided Bromide are us, and we are not going to go back to Cathedral, at least not yet. Part of that decision might also be the fact that Chrono has Confuse as Tech 3. That is really, really good. To me, that would be even more of an inclination to want to go to the back of Cathedral to try to find a Luca or a Marl in particular, or even, try to find an Isla. Any of those characters, just being able to pair various things with Confuse would just be really, really nice. Looks like though on Lord Batsy's side, since we have Water 2 already, we are going to go to Desert. We are just going to get our grind on, which I think is also completely fair here. Maybe save Hecarim Cave for after we get, all the magic unlocked. So I like this play, get the levels, get the gear, and kind of go from there.
Yeah. And since we have magic unlocked so early, you don't have to worry about wasting those tech points from Hecarim Cave. You can get your magic unlock and then get those points. Although it's worth noting that characters like Robo, it's Robo, Magus, and Ayla, you don't have to worry about unlocking magic for them.
It looks like we're getting some skips here in the desert. Just going to go pick up some gear. Probably not going to see the boss fight here. Lapises are Lapis M for 28 magic points. So, I mean, that's not bad. That's basically a mid-ether on the team, which is great. We did see a weapon there, which was, a Vedic Blade +2. I don't know what else was attached to it. But, I mean, that's good enough to get Chrono going, especially with Confuse.
Yeah, Chrono.
Or it might have been an Alloy Blade, excuse me.
I did see an Alloy Blade. Chrono can be a bit depressing, if you're using a wood sword, even with a strong tech like Confuse. But with some already decent weapons, I mean, Alloy Blade can probably carry you to the end. We've got all those power tabs. I feel pretty good about this Chrono, but like you mentioned before, I would like to see a character who can pair well with that Confuse with some good techs. Now, Sigil doesn't know that Magus is in the burrow, but Batsy checked that, which means that the character at Dactyl Nest is going to be Luca, Marl, or Ayla. All three of them have techs that pair well with Confuse, although Ayla's is going to be Falcon Hit, which is very useful, but not as useful as a late game damaging move.
However, it still gives you Ayla, which is a great character. So, especially in a flag set where gear is a little more difficult to come by, than let's say your Gato Cups or other such things. She uses Fist, and she is real good at Fist.
Yeah. I would really like to find a mage, just because we also have, we have so many people right now who want power tabs. And we do have magic tabs +3. And the one thing I really feel like we're lacking here is a big hitting oomph kind of tech. Some kind of double tech like, Luca Chrono, Marl Chrono. Or some of them. I'm trying to remember some of the triple techs that we can use.
Yeah, I know that for me, Isla especially, replacing Robo and just going into 3D attack, that would be just lovely to have. Since we already have a moderate weapon for Chrono, we have +4 power tabs, Isla doing Isla things. That to me would be probably the end game dream, because that is also going to be less gear dependent since it works off of triple kick for Isla. So that's one where I would really strongly consider that particular grouping. I think it'd be a real safe way through the seed, and also a real strong end game. So I'm curious to see what we end up doing character-wise, but I can't imagine that this Robo, barring picking up some sort of crisis effect weapon or some other very large weapon, I just can't see this Robo being part of our end game, especially with, Confuse and having a Chrono this early. Maybe I'm wildly off base on that, but that's just kind of my feel right now.
Yeah. This team is it's our triple raid team, which isn't bad if you have the right techs, but there's not a ton of damage on that leap slash, and you'd probably rather be rocking that 3D attack because the triple kick is so much more damage than than the tackle. Or we just go crazy and kick out Chrono and do some of the weird rock techs. Spin Strike is always fun if you end up with a really good, a really good weapon on Frog. Or we do Chrono Robo Ayla, put a bunch of magic tabs on Ayla and do Twister strats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of different ways to go about it. It also looks like Lordbatsy is going to give us a peek here at the Dactyl Nest. We are trying to get this skip set up using some menu buffering, but doesn't look like we're able to get it. This is the encounter, I believe, that wiped out Sigil, but having 3 characters and them being a little bit faster is allowing Lordbatsy to get through this. So we are going to be basically on even footing here, but I would say Lordbatsy has a slight power advantage right now, but I don't believe has gone and unlocked magic yet. So they will be first to Dactyl Nest, but not first to magic.
Yeah, I think if you're making any bets on this race from where we're sitting now, you can probably wait about 5 minutes. There's our Marl. It's funny. Marl feels like she should be the healer of the game, but as far as healing goes, I prefer Frog and Robo.
Agreed. It's AoE. She doesn't have AoE healing, and that is a huge liability. But she doesn't have it by herself, I should say. She has double techs that can do it, but I like her more for haste and for Ice 2. Life 2, Cure 2, and Provoke. That does not stoke confidence in that Marvel. At least not yet. Maybe we'll see where Ice 2 falls on the list.
Thankfully, Mara learns her text pretty quickly, so even if it's buried, it wouldn't be too long to get, but if you're not seeing Ice 2 and you're not seeing Haste anytime soon, she doesn't have a lot of value, so we'll see what ends up being our 4th tech. Another advantage to Batsy doing this, well, there are 2 more advantages to Batsy doing the Dactyl Nest when she did, which is 1, you have 3 characters, and it's a lot harder for these enemies to kill all 3 of them. But also you have your battle menu saved on either item or tech, so you can immediately jump into that and safely run away. Or you just do what Sigil did and you nail all the skips perfectly.
Which Sigil, I'm sure, would have been much happier to have nailed them the first time around, rather than being able to do the skips while having the 3 characters that would let them get there anyway. It'd be like that sometimes, so. Either way, looks like Marl came straight into the party for Sigil without thinking twice about it, whereas Lordbatsy did hesitate for a little bit, but also has got this Marl in the party now. Part of that also, Robo not really needed to be there. Is that a Wonder Swallow?
It's a Wonder Sword. So the
Wonder Sword, okay.
The Wonder can only roll like Wonder, Crisis on those kind of things on a weapon like that can only roll on their best weapon. So if you see Wonder something or Crisis something in that slot there, and you're not sure because it says Sword and Frog and Chrono both use sword type things, it's going to be a Chrono weapon because those can only roll on the Grand Leon, which is a key item for Frog. So if you see Wonder in that slot, it's always going to be for Chrono. I'm not sure if like a Wonder arm for Robo can appear there, but it's a bit easier to tell there. But we are getting some hunting ground hype here. So I think Sigil has decided that the future is in Wonder Sword, Ice Sword 2s today.
Wonder Sword is a heck of a thing. As far as I'm concerned, like the Wonder ability is a very fantastic one. It can be a little trolly sometimes, but if you're using it for text, it's not going to matter. Just using it to outright hit things, there could be times where it's better. Maybe you get real lucky on like Son of Sun and, hit the body a couple times and pull the 50% roll or whatever it is, just cap at quad 9s. But, that's just going to be a real strong weapon to have. And that's something that I've seen a fair amount of these seeds. And I have not seen super good weapons for Chrono in a lot of them. So to have a rainbow anything, I think is a real boon for our runners here.
Now, I didn't see, are the frogs dropping fangs and horns? Because if the frogs drop fangs and horns here, you can get that item in just 5 frog fights and then Gale. But because the items are randomized, okay, yeah, so you do have to kind of go back and forth. A smarter runner than I am would know what else you could get from that combination. Because if you're just farming frogs for what you need, you can only get the one thing. But if you have to farm the frogs and those weird little ions, you'll have enough stuff for 2 things. But I don't think any of the other things in there were crazy. The accessory was like a gold stud.
There was a prism helm, I want to say, which is pretty nice. I don't know what else it had on it, because I think I just caught it as a very last item. But a prism helm, I mean, if that is kind of the off-roll here, I think that would be real nice.
Yeah. I will say I am surprised to see... I guess not surprised. I didn't see what the 4th tech was on Marl, but Batsy is coming back here. Since we have Marl, there's no more key item characters that can be back here. But it is going to be either Luca or Ayla, which are both fantastic characters to have. So I guess Batsy's just going back here because we want a little bit more power.
Yeah, I wonder if Lord Batsy might be having the same thought I had, that with the power tab 4s, if you can find Isla, this is a triple attack, or a 3D attack team that just, can take the game off the rails, and you don't even really need a ton of equipment to make that particular comp work, just because it's so strong if it's exactly Isla. I'd be curious if, the hope was Luca, who is obviously a very good, strong character as well. I think either of them are a technical upgrade over Marl, at least how this one rolled, and especially since our frog has water. But we could also be looking to get rid of frog, and go with some other combination. Maybe that's what we're looking to do. Maybe pick up a Luca for antipode strats, or pick up an Isla to go, Falcon hit plus Marl for haste and some healing. So that's always something that's interesting based on runner preference. And I will be honest, I don't know runner preference well enough for these 2 runners.
Yeah, before I go off on a tangent about something else, let's introduce our runners real quick. So I personally am very familiar with Sigil. Sigil and I just follow each other around, being each other's rivals. Sigil was my fellow finalist in the Gato Cup. It was a best 2 of 3, and it went all the way to game 3, but I ended up winning. In exchange, I lost my very first round in the Jurassic Rhythm tournament, and Sigil has made it beyond me, so I think we're kind of on even footing at this point. And there's that Luca back there. Very, very exciting to see. Batsy, meanwhile, has been in the community for a long time, I'm sure. Half the wiki's probably written by Batsy. Very good execution. Just a great runner to watch. So this is a pretty exciting match. These are both great runners. We've seen some of the newer players do some pretty intense upsets this tournament already. So I don't know if Batsy has that looming over her, but like I said earlier, I'm not ready to bet on one runner over the other yet.
Yeah, I will say it looks like, well, first of all, what we can see on our screen, if we just open our eyes, is that we have Luca coming in for Frog, which was one of the things I thought might happen. It also looks like Marl's her 4th tech is Ice 2. So that is going to put the Ice 2 Confuse, aka Ice Sword 2, on the table. We have speed tabs going on Luca, all of them getting dumped in. So it looks like we're also going to be looking to do maybe some napalm things or some other sweeping to get this Luca going and to get our techs. And Lord Batsy is going to head straight over to Hecarim Cave. So this is just to get the tech points, while I think Sigil is done now getting all of their consumables, or I guess hunting ground things, saving just in case they turn the wrong things in. And it looks like we are going to get those fangs and those horns. And we do have 20 petals as well, so we'll see what else we get.
Yeah, I have to imagine that, Sigil has made a good time investment into doing this, so probably not going to feel like he has the time to try to find a better character in the back of Cathedral. Uh, that Wonder Sword is quite strong. I My main concern with Sigil's team versus Batsy's team is once you have like Flare on Luca, that is going to be screen clearing every encounter for the rest of the game as far as random encounters go. Whereas the Ice 2 from Marl sometimes lacks some of that punch. We do have Frog Squash on Frog, which can solve some problems, but hopefully we're not going through somewhere like Omen, which has so many encounters that you just want to obliterate as quickly as you can.
Yeah, I think it is also worth noting that on Sigil's side, the issue with Marl, I think, is a little bit overstated in this particular seed. If we find enough magic tabs, and I say this because the magic tabs rolling +3, if you stack enough of those onto her, not only will she do incredible Ice Sword 2 damage with Chrono, but those Ice 2s will actually do a meaningful amount of damage and be a pretty good screen clear for most encounters. She might not get to the point where, she's full clearing screens like Luca is, but she will get most of the stuff if you can find enough magic tabs. Again, that is if.
And we do also have, since we have that Water 2 on Frog, Water 2 plus Ice 2 would probably be enough to clear most things, but honestly, I'm just excited that we got to see the hunting ground play and we get to be hyped for Wonder Swords. Are we going to see some quad 9 Ice Sword 2s, or are we going to see some 500 damage Ice Sword 2s? We're not going to see any kind of swords from the Chrono and Batsy side as he gets kicked out, although this may just be to use the Water 2 on Frog to get through these.
Yeah, I think this is a setup to use the Water 2 now to get Ice 2 on Marl and then swap Frog back out. Chrono's already got confused, so if we're being completely real, we don't really care what other techs Chrono learns at this point. At least, that's my thought. Maybe there's some other things that could come in handy, but Chrono's purpose kind of is, just do the big thing. There is a concern that I don't think we've mentioned yet, and it is that the Ethers only rolled 7 MP, which is not ideal.
Yeah, it's funny, we were complaining about, or at least I was complaining about getting Lapis M's over, so one of the things with the healing rando is, in addition to Ethers potentially rolling low, like Possum just mentioned, Lapises can heal MP instead of HP. Which is normally more annoying, but having a Lapis that heals everybody for, I believe it was 26 MP, does kind of make up for the low MP roll on the Ethers. And we got Sigil fighting Flea here. Despite this being available fairly early, the scaling on this encounter is pretty high. If you're not familiar with Jets of Time scaling, it's location-based. So places like Hecarim and Xenon Bridge are going to be fairly low. Desert is kind of right in the middle, but considering if you have Robo in the beginning, it's in logic right away. It can be kind of tricky, especially if you get someone lovely like Flea.
Yeah, we also saw the difference that the Wonder is making there on the Confuses. The first roll was almost 400 a hit. The second roll was only about 200 a hit. So we are seeing a lot of that variability already popping up. We also saw on Sigil's side that there was a reset out of the bridge check, which was a bent hilt. So one half of Magus Castle Go mode effectively because, we have Frog already. That is the Go mode we don't want if we're running this, but it is the Go mode we may end up with. So it remains to be seen how our runners proceed with that knowledge, or at least how Sigil proceeds with that knowledge, while they do this desert fight and lordbatsy meanders through this Hecarim cave.
Now, fortunately, it was a Flea Plus. Insert Flea Plus what joke here, so not as threatening as the original Flea. So we're going to get through this. We did have a comment in the chat, kind of wild seeing both runners not rushing key items. Since we are one away from go mode, you really don't want to have to... It's kind of interesting because you want to start doing key items and get that go mode as soon as you can. But if you do find go mode right away, you're going to need the strength to power through it. So I think we were just taking some time to get some of that strength and then go out and do the checks. And like you were mentioning with Sigil checking that bridge, that's just one thing you can get. You can check right off the bat and never have to think about. Because if that's, if that's your ruby knife, you're ready to go. If it's not ruby knife, you just don't need to think about it. So I want to know, Possum, do you think that we're going to see an early go mode, or is this going to be one of those seeds where you get 2 out of 3 pieces of go mode, and then the final go mode you get is completely different?
I'm going to say that we have a pendant on Mount Woe, and we have a Robo Ribbon on Reptite Lair, and we have to go through Mount Woe to get the pendant because the future triple gates everything. Just because I want to see more Jets of Time. I'm selfish like that. Sorry, runners.
Well, we are doing a double header tonight. We've got another race going on right after, or potentially during, depending on how spicy this gets. I say spicy as Batsy takes a flare. This can be not as annoying as it is in the vanilla game because it's either 1 or 2 fewer flames, but it's still an annoying fight. We'll get through it soon, or we'll just try again. I think we may have lost track of which one was the hittable one, or it just did a shuffle and it's easier to just start over.
Yeah, I think we got a shuffle there. We had at least 2 misses. It just was not going the way we wanted. Popping back out here and just going to go ahead and, reset things, reset the mental, reset the fight, and just be good from there.
I did see Batsy do something that I hadn't thought about doing before, which is you use that slash to hit 2 of them, and it helps you immediately knock 2 off the list of which one.
Yeah, that's very nice. I wonder if you can also do that with like Flame Toss, any of those line-based attacks.
Yeah, it doesn't need to cause any damage. It just needs to be a thing. Sigil did get that Prism Shard, so that's another peekable check. You can run down there and peek what the key item is. You can even peek it if you don't have Marl. You just can't get it until you have her. There's also generally pretty decent loot down there. So even if I don't have Marl, I'll often go down here and do a little bit of looting and find out what's down here.
Yeah, the loot itself is tiered pretty highly from what I remember, as we find a Giga Arm and a Vigil Hat. Love the Vigil Hat. We do have to play Dodge the Naga, which is one of my least favorite games, also kind of one of those whack-a-mole simulators. So a Sigil Hat, we're calling it in chat. I can get behind that. Mid-Ethers rolled 2... Okay, well, there's our pendant. Mid-Ethers rolled 30. That pendant, honestly, I think you have to walk it out and just kind of, deal with it.
It's tricky. Pendant it's not a part of the go mode we're looking for, but it does gate future access, which can potentially be where the other piece of go mode is. We don't know what is at Hecarim, so Sigil doesn't know it's at Hecarim yet. There's also Denadera we can check, Reptite Lair, and Mount Woe. So there's a lot of places still available to us, but it becomes a question of, do you want to potentially waste some time now finishing this out and just grabbing the pendant, or waste some time later when you find out that you have to have the pendant?
Yeah, there's also a bit of metagaming here, right? Is that if you're in Sigil shoes, and there's been no reason with how this has gone so far, but if you're in Sigil shoes, do you ever think, oh, hey, I'm the underdog here. I'm facing off against one of the goats of Jets of Time. Like, is that ever going to be in the mind and say, well, maybe I need to make a play, and maybe this is the play Sigil has said, you know what? Lord Batsy isn't going to do this before they do all this other, Sphere Zero or, baseline Sphere 1 stuff. If I take this pendant and it hits and I get that early ruby knife, I'm in the driver's seat. Maybe I feel like I have to take that risk and make that gamble. If that's what Sigil's mindset is going into it, good on him. Follow your plan. Do the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder if something I've noticed is a lot of our newer runners this tournament have been doing something like Denadero Mountains before the vets have, because Denadero can be a bit slow, but not wildly slow, and it's paid off a lot this tournament. So I wonder if we'll see a strange circumstance where Batsy does Deno to to help negate against Sigil possibly doing Deno, and then Sigil skips Deno and just goes straight to the future. Uh, I don't know. There can be some weird stuff that'll happen here. As a runner, a seed as open as this, where you have Gate Key and you have Pendant, is one of the scariest ones to run into because you can gain or lose a lead pretty rapidly.
Well, speaking of gaining or losing a lead, how about Wonder Chrono there? 1,200 a hit on that Confuse. We got a good one there. That's goodbye to Yakra. That fight is done twice. That was basically 5,000 damage off of 4 hits there from Confuse. So when that hits, boy does it hit hard, and that was real nice on Sigil's side. Is going to be done with that Prism Shard check. The bent sword is being reset out of for Lord Batsy, so both runners have now reset out of that. And it is worth noting we got a Moonstone from Hecarim Cave, so that has no value until we're done with this Prism Shard stuff as well, which I believe just leaves Denadoro and Reptite Lair. It looks like we are getting the Mountain play from Lord Batsy here.
Yeah, I mean, if this is our Ruby Knife, this could be huge because I would not be surprised to see Sigil skip this. Oh yeah, as we see, they're taking Chrono away, so Sigil is making the bet to go straight to future.
Yeah, I think on Sigil's side, you took the time to get the pendant. You have to run with the pendant. One of the things that I think is a transferable skill from randos, and I know you talked about you and Sigil play a lot of randos, is you got to commit to the bit, right? If you do something, why not follow through with it? Play to that time that you invested to get the thing. Follow where that thing leads, because otherwise you're just behind that time already. And against a runner who, again, mindset wise, Lord Batsy, a more established runner than Sigil. Not to say Sigil is bad by any means, but if you can get an advantage by skipping or fading a check or two and really push this, then from the gamer's perspective, from the gamesmanship perspective, like this is absolutely correct on Sigil's part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Sigil. I've seen a lot of Sigil's races recently. Sigil is a pretty bold runner. I often feel like I hold off on healing my party a bit aggressively and just try to finish fights as soon as possible. Sigil scares me fairly often, so I expect that if Sigil's going to do anything this run, it's going to be making a play, and we'll probably see that again and again. So hope everybody is well hydrated because you might be getting a little nauseous seeing some of the risks that Sigil makes.
We get to see the risks on Sigil's side. We get to see the skips on Lord Batsy's side. It's a good time. I like it. I want to see a perfect Denadoro here for the fans.
Yeah, if you're interested in running Jets of Time, one of the main time savers in it is learning the encounter skips, and there's no better example of that than seeing a perfectly executed Denadero versus a vanilla Denadero, because you'll see Batsy skip. God, I don't know how many fights it is, but a tremendous number of fights that you'll just run into in the natural course of things playing in vanilla.
Yeah, by the time you factor in that one chain that's like 5 fights long, it's what, 8 or 9 fights on Denadoro alone that you can skip through. Like, it is a huge amount. Looks like we are going to be saving Fritz here on Sigil side. Well, we're okay. We are saving Fritz. Good. This may be relevant in this seed to pick up those mid ethers, since our regular ethers rolled so low. It just, those 10 could save a lot of time. So I know that our Restreamer, shoutouts to our Restreamer here, OneFreeFritz, very happy to see Fritz getting saved.
Yeah, I think surprised to see Batsy get that encounter there. There might be a way to get through here faster than I usually do, and that's what she was trying to do. Because normally this one is pretty easy to get by, but you do kind of have to loop around it. So it's possible that there's an even faster way to get through it.
Yeah, I always go through the middle of this one myself, but it looked like Lord Batsy was trying to cut through the top portion of that top goblin, and that's not one I had seen before, so I do wonder if that is a potential skip as well. And we have gotten our complimentary boop from the bird.
Now, as far as the rocks go, we're not going to see any rock techs because both of our runners are running teams with Chrono, and he's pretty well kitted out, but the rocks can still give us bonuses because of the gear rando. So we saw Gold Rock, which is going to be usable on Marl and Frog. So both teams can use the Gold Rock. And then we saw the Blue Rock, which Luca can use on Batsy's side. I'm not sure what bonuses they rolled, but they can be pretty useful.
And here is a boss on Sigil's side that we are going to be happy to have magic for. This is Nizbal 2. This would not be particularly fun if we didn't have magic, so it's not going to be fast, though. This is going to be Water 2, and we don't have Ice 2 yet on Marl. We're one tech away. So this, we're going to strap in for a minute here, and we're just going to be Water 2ing for quite some time. So let's see what Lord Batsy's doing over here with Masa and Mune. We have gotten through the first fight, and we apparently are just going to not randomize this location. And I will say the line for all the fans out there: is this even randomized?
You gotta have it. Although it's a little hard to say it when we have someone from 65 million BC up in all the way up here.
True. Whew, 2,200 from that Ice Sword too.
So I'm guessing that since Sigil hasn't done Hecarim Cave, that must be why we don't have Ice 2. I imagine we'll see Ice 2 fairly soon, but Hecarim is one of the first big uses, one of the first big places to get a bunch of tech points. So that's probably why Batsy has it, and Sigil does not. But it does mean that it's not going to be too far off.
So I do wonder here that this is a function of how the wonder works. While we're about to get this key item from Lord Batsy, I suppose we should focus on that before I ask my question, because otherwise that could take us down quite a weird path without addressing this. So let's see what Lord Batsy has, and then I have a question on functionality of how this weapon works on Sigil's side. We have a hero medal, which is a fetch quest. Not going to be able to equip that hero medal, but it is a fairly quick check to make in the burrow. Lord Batsy probably feels a little bad about having now double dipped the burrow, but it is what it is. But my question is, with this Wonder Rainbow that we have on Sigil's side, can that ever do extra or bonus damage to this Nizbel to help push us through, or is that an exercise in futility?
I imagine it can roll up, but it's subject to the same defense restriction, so I imagine it's something like you're gambling on doing 20 damage instead of 5.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. You know, if
there's a question.
All right, now be on the edge of your seat second time. Well, nope. You're going to be on the edge of your seat a third time because the hero medal turned into Thomas Pop, which is another fetch quest. Now, one thing I was going to say about the nice thing about getting all of the early game checks out of the way is you know that you're not going to miss something by going on a wild goose chase going all the way to the future. You may have to do, one more check that's 3 minutes long, like Denadero, but you don't have to worry about accidentally putting your go mode super late to the end. Now, when you get something like Denadero into Hero's Medal into Thomas Pop, you are turning that 3 minute play into a three-parter.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be very interesting because we obviously have two gigantic, or one gigantic divergence here. We see a Tabin suit for sale there. If we ever get Lord Batsy in the future, that Tabin suit is probably something we'll want because I think we only have a vest at the moment. But we are going to go through Desert for Lord Batsy. Makes sense. We pick up that magic tab, and then we will stay hungry as we rest in the Enertron. It was a wall helm as well. I think that was 30 defense. It was like a -2, but still a decent helmet for our runners there.
It looks like Sigil is going to go to Eris Dome next. I like doing the Sun Palace play here right away because it's quick, but it is a hard boss, and I don't think we have that Ice Sword 2 yet. So I think it makes sense to get a little more power here, and there are some really great items back here.
Yeah, I like routing this in on Sigil's side because I want to say it's 30 tech points you get from this boss, if I remember right. Those will, if not get us to Ice 2, get us really close. So that will set us up for then doing the Sun Keep. So I generally agree with you. I like doing Sun Keep or Sun Palace first, whatever it's called. But this should just be easier. I think we have Hypno Wave, at least on Lord Batsy's side. We obviously don't have it because we don't have Luca here. But this Mother Brain shouldn't be too much of an issue. We might even be able to do just, a couple of confuses, depending how Wonder rolls. Could even just outright, knock her down in one fell swoop.
Yeah, the scaling here is pretty low. I want to say it's around 2600 HP. So I would still be inclined to kill off the bits that heal, if only just to keep them from wasting too much time. But just like with Nizbel before, this is more of a time waste threat than a life threat. And I'm assuming we'll start to see Batsy do. So Batsy did that desert stuff, not necessarily ignoring the Thomas Pop, but you have to go to 1000 AD anyway to turn in the Thomas Pop. So probably just wrapping up desert. Gonna get the Prism Shard, and then probably turn in the Thomas Pop, go back to 600 AD, and then you can do the rest of the Thomas Pop quest and the Prism Shard turn in.
Yeah, we also had to get magic on Luca as well, where we do see Fire 2 as Tech 4. So we had Ice 2 Tech 4 and Fire 2 Tech 4. So that's honestly really nice to see both of those right away. That will make Lord Batsy's life easier, sweeping everything as we go, to your point from earlier. But Sigil is, as far as we know right now, unless this Thomas Pop pays out, Sigil probably going to be our first to go mode, but probably not going to be as powerful. I think I like Lord Batsy's team more from the power side.
And I guess Batsy wants to take a screenshot or something here. Hopefully everything is going okay. Or has decided that we need to bust out the cheats here.
I'm going to guess it's not that. But I wonder if they're having an emulator issue or if they play on hard. Well, no, they're not playing on hardware with that screen. I don't think. I don't know. what particularly is happening. But let's see what Sigil gets if we have any looting here while Lord Batsy is trying to get themselves back up and running.
Yeah, I mean, so the hope for Batsy is that the best case scenario would be that the Thomas Pop gets you the ruby knife.
Yeah.
Because if it gets us anything else, things are going to slow down a little bit. If it gets us the other part of the Mosamoon, then we do have our Mage's Castle go mode. But does Lord Batsy have to go back here? Or did
I
Batsy
don't.
never?
I don't think
Okay,
they did the boss. Yeah, I think
okay,
they
that's right.
they
Yeah,
swept everything in here, but did not do the boss yet. So I don't think they lost any progression with that little bit of whatever technical issue was happening. And they will blow through this as well. This is not going to be an issue. We get an amulet, we get an elixir, we get 2 elixirs. So an amulet and 2 elixirs out of that for Sigil is really nice.
yeah.
That's pretty fantastic, all things considered. I believe that gives us a vigil hat and an amulet. Uh, so 2 protect all, which is really, really nice for defenses.
And we're gonna see. We're not quite gonna see it yet in this fight, but you're gonna see one of the main strengths of Batsy's party is being able to alternate Fire Sword 2, Ice Sword 2, because I believe both of those dual techs, the ATB punishes the caster. So with most dual techs and triple techs, one of the characters involved is going to suffer an ATB penalty. So being able to alternate that can really mitigate that issue. And let's
Yeah,
see what
and
Sigil gets here.
this is a big moment for Sigil. Oh
Oh.
my. Okay.
So do you want to? I was about to say why this can be tricky for Batsy, but I don't know if you want to give us the rundown.
Well, it's really tricky for Batsy because this Thomas Pop is effectively dead, which means that we are just chasing. Uh, that's my concern, is that the best case scenario now is like we hit the other half of the sword and we somehow hope that we can close the gap. Like, this is pretty grim on Lord Batsy's side if we don't go to the future immediately. I'm very curious on Sigil's side, though. Do we go straight in, or do we do like a full grind on like Mount Woe or something?
I feel like we don't have what we need for a convenient clear of Woe. Because you want a fast AoE, and I'm not sure if Water 2 is going to be enough to do it, and the Ice 2 is going to be a bit slow.
We are looking at this Isla here, though, on Sigil's side, at least taking her into the party. So I do wonder if we are potentially eyeing a 3D attack team with this. She is level 20, which is slightly behind Marl's 22, but certainly gives us some other utility that we wouldn't otherwise have. But looks like, at least for now, we are sticking with Ice 2. And I know that you had asked, why things might be a little awkward or odd for Lord Batsy in this situation with the Thomas Pop and whatnot. I just want to make sure we didn't leave anything on the table there, that there's not some grand thing that I am missing in my neophytedness with this game.
No, no, not at all. It is just that if we, follow through on the Thomas Pop, we know it's not going to be Ruby Knife. You know, worst case scenario, it's like a Robo's Ribbon, which is useless to us, but if it's something like the other part of the Mosamoon, Batsy can go to Xenon Bridge and, clear that and go to Mage's Castle. Mage's Castle is a bit slow for the go modes, but it's not, not the end of the world. But if it's something like another part of Omen go mode, then Batsy's going to have to go to the future anyway with the pendant and probably just end up on the Ruby Knife path.
Yeah, unless they do, unless Thomas Pop leads to the another portion of the Omen Go mode, and then exactly the Sun Palace or Sun Keep leads to the third piece of it. Otherwise, I think you're correct. We'd end up with the Ruby Knife and Tyranno Go mode anyway. Looks like
Yeah.
we are getting the pendant from Lord Batsy here, so that pendant coming along, we are not resetting out. So I think we're going to see this through on Lord Batsy's side and
Yeah.
not go to Thomas Pop right now and Giant Claw.
Yeah. Yeah, what I'm hoping we see, because I think I mentioned that sometimes I like to do Sun Palace first because it's so quick. Batsy definitely has the strength to do Sun Palace right away. So
Mhm.
if we get something like the Chrono Trigger at Thomas Pop, and then we get the clone at the Sun Palace, she might not even see the Ruby Knife, and then we'd have one of those classic two different Go mode races.
It looks like on Sigil's side, we are going to Reptite Lair. I wonder if we're going to get a little grind here on the Temporites in the first room. Something that I saw Jazer do in their race the other night was grind on these guys for a couple of levels to get prepared enough to get through Tyranno Lair. So I think that's what we're seeing out of Sigil here. I doubt we're going to get a full clear of Reptite Lair. That would seem quite odd, given we're already in Go mode.
Yeah. At this point, the only things that Sigil could get from a check that would be useful would be the Grand Leon or the Hero Medal. But that's not really what you go hunting for when, especially when you're against someone of Batsy's caliber, let alone anyone in this tournament.
Yeah, I think Sigil's play in this seed was, I found Pendant. This is going to be the thing that I live or die on. And right now, that early Pendant play, looks real good on Sigil's part because we hit that, air quote best go mode in Tyranno Lair. Not to mention, we also took the time on Sigil's side to get that Wonder Rainbow. So there's a lot of, good things that have lined up for Sigil in this seed so far. I would feel pretty confident in their shoes right now, given the amount of stuff that's been faded, and especially once seeing that Ruby Knife. I think that has to have been like a huge weight, not necessarily off of Sigil's shoulders, but just understanding, okay, all the stuff I faded is not the Ruby Knife.
Yeah. And I mean, he even faded Hecarim, which is, you're usually pretty confident that your opponent did Hecarim. I wonder, with that, we did see a rock throw on Ayla. I wonder if I might be tempted to bring in Ayla instead of Frog, because Falcon Hit is fantastic in the elevator encounters, and that's, I believe is it Rock Throw and Spin Cut? You do lose some of that AoE healing, but I believe we have some dual take AoE healing with this crew.
Yeah, we get, what is it, Aura Whirl, I want to say, is the AoE healing.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder if Sigil, we don't take these encounters because they're not especially lucrative. I wonder if that's just to learn all of our dual techs. Falcon Hit is the big one that I mentioned, but Cube Toss between the two ladies is really nice. I would say I feel like overall the stronger of the two parties I'm going to have to give to Batsy, but there's a lot of strength behind this one. If I had to go into any of the final fights with either of these party, I don't feel like I'd be unable to do it. And yeah, as Phone mentions in chat, Cube Toss is nice if Wonder Sword does some trolling.
Yeah, it is interesting that, you could even look at things like just having Chrono use Confuse individually for whatever fights we have, and then having Isla and Marl team up to do their dual techs, and just be like, okay, well, I'm not going to put all my eggs in the Wonder Basket on the dual techs. If Chrono just, hits and does real good things with Confuse by itself, it's going to functionally do the same amount of damage anyway. And we can also find a Kali Blade just laying around in a box in Tyrannolair. That's also pretty good.
Yeah. I might be tempted to throw that on Chrono as we're for the non-boss fights, just to make sure that that Falcon hit is actually killing everything we needed to kill. Since Falcon hit is 100% based on Chrono's damage, I assume you could get some pretty sad-looking Falcon hits with a Wonder Sword.
Yeah, it is interesting how the Wonder plays into things where, for those AoE necessary encounters, it's probably better to not have the liability equipped and to take the sure thing. It is also interesting how, one of the things that I haven't seen typically on these flags from the limited amount I've viewed is you normally don't get all these super cool big chrono weapons. But in this seed, we've seen multiple really good chrono weapons already.
And it looks like Sigil's doing some thinking. I feel like both of our runners are doing some thinking now.
Or we are having potential restream issues. That is also a possibility.
I wonder if Batsy's... I've seen that happen when I've accidentally unplugged my controller before, where it does those messages that Batsy just got. So I wonder if we're having a mutual pause just to deal with controller issues.
That could do it as well.
Well, I will take a minute to say, something that Batsy has on her side is she has pretty fantastic execution, and there are a lot of places you can save time with execution. Sigil has missed a couple of the skips in here, and that slowly adds up. We're also going to get a ton of power tabs from doing the Giant's Claw. So we're, however long it takes Batsy to get her go mode, she's definitely going to be stronger going into it.
Yeah, Batsy is going to have the consistency and the overall strength that you really desire on their side. Sigil is going to have the highest of highs and the lowest of lows on their side, where Wonder is going to determine a lot of Sigil's way through. If Sigil is fortunate, and, preparation, when it meets opportunity, is how you get lucky. If Sigil gets lucky, if Sigil has prepared for this moment, there is no reason why Sigil can't get through.
And I don't know what happened, but it looks like Sigil has switched back to Frog. It might just be... Well, and there's the power of Wonder Sword, folks.
Yeah, 7,829 damage. That's just going to, stop any train of thought that I think either of us had. But continue if you remember what you were talking about.
I do. So I wonder if Sigil is thinking, I want to keep Frog in my party for the easy cure on the full party, because we have that heal, which cures all three, but just wants to learn the Falcon hit, and is going to switch Ayla into the party at some point in Omen. Or
yeah, I think.
Or that.
I think it's completely fair either way. There's also the fact that, you can swap Frog in and out to just do healing as needed. And, we don't really have a ton of healing otherwise, and maybe we're just trying to save all of our items. Maybe we don't have enough shelters. I'm not exactly certain, but there's so many different ways you can go with this team, and I don't think there's a bad one for either runner. They both have wonderful setups. Sigil, unfortunately, missing the skip, so to your point earlier, about being able to get through on execution, lordbatsy also getting through a rubble here, picking up a couple of techs. So just going to be making up as much time as they can while still having to go through a lot of these extra type checks. And despite what might look similar on y'all's screen, Lord Batsy is in fact in Giant Claw, not in Tyranno Lair like Sigil is. So it might look similar, but we are not in fact in the same place.
I will say, sometimes I'm inclined, if I miss a skip, I just kill the enemies in case they drop something nice. I call it my consolation prize. I don't know if it's actually a good strategy, but I have had those pterosaurs drop speed taps. Sometimes I'll do that if I just want to see what some of the encounters in there are dropping, especially if I feel a little bit weak. But, after that almost 8k Ice Sword 2, I don't think weakness is Sigil's concern.
Yeah, I would not think so either. We also see on Lord Batsy's side here, our series is going to get our eliminated here. That's a boss that existed on your screen for a small while and is no longer on your screen. So Lord Batsy making quick work of the R series that chat is saying that needs to be buffed, which, there's probably some validity to that, but I will also contend that, not every boss has to be the hardest in the game. Sometimes it's nice to be able to just get through some things. And there is the clone. So we have Pendant and Clone. So if the Chrono Trigger is in the Sun Palace, then we at least get Omen from Lord Batsy, and that would be about as quick as we can close the gap, though Tyranno Lair probably still faster.
Yeah, at that point, it may also depend too on just what our encounters end up being, in terms of the bosses that we have left. Sigil right now is fighting Black Tyranno. Azala can only be damaged with magic techs. Cube Toss, we saw, it uses Ayla's Rock Throw and doesn't get any bonus damage from it, but the Cube Toss math makes the Ice 2 stronger. So it's probably still faster than just spamming Ice 2. Black Tyranno is going to have, I don't remember the exact amount, I want to say it's between 8,000 and 12,000 HP. We'll see what our Wonder Sword gives us today, but I don't imagine that we're going to be seeing that countdown run out.
Yeah, we did get 3k, and then we got 2k. So I do still wonder if, just slamming Confuse with Chrono and just hoping the high roll, and then leaving your other two to combo together might still be better, but at the same time, just get a big hit with this Ice Sword 2, right? 3,000, unlucky.
Yeah, hopefully Sigil didn't use all of his luck on that Mage's fight, because that probably wasn't where we needed it, although honestly it probably saved us some time on some annoying counters.
Yeah, just from the counters, skipping them alone, we probably saved 60 to 90 seconds. We really didn't see much pop out of this Black Tyranno. We did attack-wise, but it never really does. A Speed Belt does pop out, though, which is not bad. We certainly will never be sad to see that, especially with a Vigil Helm. If you want to put that on Marl, put the the Speed Belt on her. She still maintains protection from everything. She gets a little faster, doesn't incur as much of a penalty that way, kind of on the techs, since she is just a little faster, can haste everyone faster. Really don't hate that.
Yeah. So we have Sigil going to whichever amount of BC. Not 65 million. A little bit more recent than that. Ice Age, I'll call it. And we're going to be kind of getting into the final stretch here. I say final, but there's still a fair amount left. Final more as in there's no more deviation from here. We'll see what kind of items we get in this last shop. The main things that we need are obstacle protection, but we do already have an amulet and a Vigil Helm. So I'd probably be hoping to see some elixirs and mega elixirs, since we did ditch that frog.
Yeah, having two sources of Protect All I think is enough, and then you leave your third, just kind of doing whatever, maybe just receiving heals if needed. I'd love to see mega elixirs here if I were Sigil. Full tonics, hyper ethers, we see another of a purchasable, by the way, Wonder Rainbow. That might actually feel bad for Sigil, and I wonder if Lord Batsy is going to end up buying that.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is we didn't find it in a chest shortly after getting it, so we did get mileage out of it from a handful of fights. Uh, but yeah, usually you want to be the sole owner of the thing that you spent a bunch of time getting. We've got Batsy continuing to do more of these checks that aren't in the future, so we're getting further and further away from that ruby knife, which could potentially be a good thing if it gets us a different go mode that ends up being safer. You know, if we're in Omen, we're going to be dealing with a different set of enemies than we'd be dealing with in Ocean Palace, but, you know, we'll see what's down here.
Yeah, we are taking a fair bit of time on Sigil's side here to buy some hyper ethers and to buy some full tonics. The full tonics are healing at 270. Was that the roll on it? That feels real low.
And speaking of feels, Batsy picking up that Robo Ribbon, and
Oof.
then it looks like going to Woe, so clearing everything out besides the future.
Yeah, I mean, this is the other side of the coin, right? Is that in Lord Batsy's shoes, they have to figure at this point, well, if I go to the future, I'm so far behind someone else who went to the future that if the answer is there, I'm dead. I have to hope that the answer all lies behind this. To the point where, like, I'm trying to think of how it even gets. I guess you would have to hope Sigil ends up with, like, Magus Castle Go mode, and you end up getting either the Ruby Knife or the Chrono Trigger off of this, and that the future is kind of just bupkis. It's all the other stuff that you don't need.
Yeah. And rather than talk about the perpetually useless golem boss, I'm just gonna continue this current conversation.
Absolutely.
You also don't, you know, as a runner, you don't necessarily know. Like, I don't think Batsy has done anything particularly unusual here. You know, Sigil made some really fantastic routing decisions, or, you know, some decisions that paid off really well. But Batsy could very well be thinking that, you know, Sigil has either found the answer right away or is in the exact same boat I'm in. So you just have to keep playing your best and keep shaving off as much time as possible.
Yeah, I mean, this is also it's just one of those things, right? That if you say, you know, I just don't feel like going and doing the pendant, it happens. You know, where you do everything else, you have all this access to stuff, and it just doesn't pay off. It be like that sometimes. You know, Lord Batsy may be thinking to herself, well, you know, I've had some tech issues, I've had some this issues, I've had some that issues. I haven't really made any egregious errors. There was like the one reset on Son of Sun, but, you know, whatever. That was relatively small, all things considered, over the course of a seed. So I think in their shoes, you know, you again commit, just like Sigil committed to their play of going to the future, Lord Batsy committing to their play of not going to the future. In this particular seed, it looks like Sigil's path through is the better one, but that's rando gonna rando for you.
Yeah.
And to answer a question from chat, yes, Ruby Knife was in Eris Dome in the future. So the Tyranno Lair path was pretty accessible, but you had to pull the trigger on the pendant.
Yeah. And if you try to make the play that, you know, Deno has historically been the place to go this whole season, you know, sometimes the conventional wisdom of things like never do Denadero, you know, it's conventional for a reason. But like you said, rando gonna rando.
Yeah, I mean, there was a showcase race that I did with Jazer just the other day where the pendant had the goods. I went and did Denadoro. It led to the Gate Key. It led to Mount Woe, which led to the Jerky. The Reptite Lair was Bupkiss. And it was like, okay, well, you know, it be like that sometimes. You play well, but sometimes it doesn't work out. We do see what's working out for Sigilo is this Falcon hit, that full screen clear. This is a nice, fast grind for Sigil. They can kind of take this to whatever level they feel comfortable with. And I mean, that could be level 30 if we really want it. I don't know that we'll go quite that high, but it's not unreasonable to at least get to, the high 20s for level here for Sigil and pick up a lot of tech points as well, as this is one of the best spots in the game to grind, especially because we can one shot and Falcon hit is super fast.
Yeah. You know, maybe didn't mean to do that spin cut. I think sometimes that the tech that it locks into can get shifted a bit depending on, maybe you've been using the dual tech on Ayla, and then you mash buttons and it hits Chrono first. I think sometimes it can get changed, if you've learned new techs, but that's fine. We just use Falcon Hit again and we get through it. Sigil I know has spent some time getting some extras, like going into hunting grounds, but he has to feel like his route was pretty fantastic and not necessarily the most obvious. You probably feel like your opponent has at least done Hecarim and you have that on them. So probably feels like, if Sigil knew everything that Sigil knew, playing safely here and gaining a bunch of levels is great, because the way that you lose with the kind of lead that he has is by misplaying on Lavos. Because you can spend a lot of time having to refight Lavos.
Yeah, taking this from a maybe to a guarantee, there's no shame in that. It's, one thing to be aggressive, even overly so, but if you have routed this like Sigil has, and maybe Sigil has studied, lordbatsy as well, and knows that lordbatsy doesn't like to do dependent. If that's the case as well, that they know something about their opponent from scouting, which, if you are playing in a tournament and you know your opponent, you absolutely use that knowledge as best you can. If Sigil knows that, then they will know they are probably ahead. If they haven't done any scouting, then they might still feel like, well, I just need to get to a point where I'm comfortable. It's, really tough to say which is which at this point. That's what the interview after the race is for either way. Looks like we did learn final kick and also triple kick. So that may be what we were grinding for on Sigil's side. I'm not exactly certain. But lordbatsy already at the top of Woe. So basically, in the time it took Sigil to get here and grind, lordbatsy has pretty much cleared out Woe. So a very fast Woe clear. Hit most, if not all, of the skips, and didn't do any of the rubbles. So threw this about as fast as you can.
Yeah, rewarded with not the best fight to get with this team. It's going to, if you hit the shell, it's going to do a counterattack that hits the whole party. Fire Sword 1 luckily will do enough damage that we'll get through this eventually, but you'd really be wanting to see something that you can just Fire Sword 2 and knock down the old-fashioned way. You can kind of get away with using AoE on Elder Spawn, since it only counters one character, but Fire Sword 2 is gonna get through it nice and safely.
Yeah, we might decide at the end, or when we think the end might be coming, that we could just go for a Fire Sword 2 to finish the fight. But absolutely, discretion being the better part of valor in some of these cases can certainly work in our favor on lordbatsy's side. It does look like Sigil decided to skip one of these encounters. I did notice their levels after their grind was 30 on Marl, 28 on Ayla, and 29 on Chrono. As far as I'm concerned, with the gear that we have seen, I think that we're pretty much good to go at that point, that we don't need to do too much more of a grind. Those are pretty comfy levels, given the amount of power that we have.
Yeah, I would say I generally feel pretty comfortable moving on, at least at level 27, unless I'm feeling particularly weak. But the nice thing about that Falcon hit, like you mentioned, is it's a super quick animation. And, discretion being the better part of valor, you probably know that you're in a pretty good spot to spend a little bit of time playing safely, since you've made so many plays so far that have worked out.
And was that the Grand Leon with Wonder on it as well? Is that what we just got from Woe?
I hope you saw wrong, because that's really not what we want to see. because that's everything. We have to go to the future at this point. We maybe we'll see Sun Palace be the play, and that'll be where the Chrono Trigger is, and then we can just Batsy can move on, have that go mode, and go forward. Because if Batsy finds that ruby knife, it's going to be a rough feeling because you know that there was potentially a much faster way to get to it. You don't know if your opponent did it, but just knowing that your opponent can do it. The clone, I believe we found that in Giant's Claw. So, if we get the Omen Go mode, then we might feel like, okay, I did a lot of stuff, but I got a go mode out of it.
Yeah, the mental would be repaired quite a bit on Lord Batsy's side if the Sun Keep gives us the Chrono Trigger. My fear is that like the Sun Keep is going to troll us and give like a jerky, and the Chrono Trigger is going to be behind the Moonstone, and you would have like it just feels like Lord Batsy has gotten just the raw end of it here. That they have played really well. They've made a lot of great decisions and a lot of great choices, but for this particular seed, like it's one of those things where you commit to something and that something just ain't it. So I still think that if Sigil has some trouble, Lord Batsy is obviously good enough to make up any bit of time and then some. But man, it's the mental is the worst part of it, and I hope for Lord Batsy they're able to get through without, too much trouble and feeling too bad about that.
Yeah. At this point, Sigil has one more boss before the Lavos fight, and it's going to be the double fight. So, Batsy's not quite out yet, depending on what kind of garbage Sigil has to deal with down here. Because whenever Batsy does get that go mode, we're going to be really beefy.
Oh, for sure. Really beefy, and is going to have a ton of power tabs and just a ton of power altogether. But the clock is the big enemy right now for Lord Batsy, and they are a veteran runner enough to know that. We also saw some stream hiccups there. You can disregard those. As Sigil is going to get their twin fight coming up here. Ooh, a dash ring as well. That's a really nice pickup if we are in the market for 3 more speed.
And we did get what was it? I think one of the encounters in the elevator dropped speed tabs.
The elevator was so fast with Falcon hit that I'm going to be honest, I was paying more attention to Lord Batsy. Double Fritz save for our runners. And we do have the Collie Blade on still. We have not gone back to the Wonder Rainbow yet. I wonder if that's okay. Just happened right now. And the speed tabs going on Chrono here, so we're not putting it on any of the mages or anything like that. We're just investing fully in our guy Chrono.
Yeah, I think we had I want to say it was Vigil Hat went on to Marl, so she ended up being able to use the ring with the +3 speed. So I'm assuming that Chrono and Marl they're about as fast as each other, and then Ayla's going to be taking up the rear.
And I mean, worst case scenario, she can use Kiss. She could charm. She still has things she can do.
Speaking of worst case scenario, we could see some very exciting quote unquote Wonder Sword 2s. So, the hardest part with the Lavos fights is always the start of them. So things can really go, off the rails if you don't get them down as fast as possible. If Sigil gets some low rolls on that Ice Sword 2 on Lavos 3, and then Lavos 3, removes the amulet protection and then does the spell that puts stats on everyone, you could be looking at having to start over from Lavos 2.
Absolutely true. And if y'all remember the water that was used from Frog over and over on Sigil's side, you're going to see something a little bit different on Lord Batsy's side for this Nizbel too. And we get a reset from Sigil there. I missed what happened as I had looked over on Lord Batsy's side. Uh, Looks like Frog is coming back in for healing, so I wonder if we ate a little bit too much damage without healing from those laser spins. This spot hits very hard, and there are two enemies, and we didn't get any super great Wonder Rolls there.
Yeah. I think maybe, Sigil's a very aggressive player. Atropos is not usually the boss that you think of as a hard boss, but if you don't stay topped up in this fight, it's pretty easy to get ground down. I mean, you usually expect to be dying here to like a double Dalton or something, so it's never a good feeling when one of the quote-unquote pushover bosses ends up being the thing that wipes you, but I'm sure we've all been there at some point.
Yeah, I think I've died to just about everything but the silly golem boss that we didn't talk about earlier. But I did also not know for the longest time that boss, if you let it script out, it just like runs away. I thought when it finished its countdown, it did like what the Black Tyranno does and does this big old move. So I was like, oh, it's panicking. You gotta kill it. You gotta kill it. No, you don't. So, these laser spins, though, this is what got us in trouble last time. We're going to toss a heal out, hopefully in between the two, so that we can survive. But maybe wipe out the first one first with a big roll here. That might do it. So as long as Marl lives here, we're fine. She's going to take only 84. Our heal does not come out. That's going to wipe out Marl for sure. Frog also goes down, so I think this is going to be another reset unless we YOLO a confuse here. Nope, that's a reset as well. We did not get the heal out on Frog in time. That is unfortunate on Sigil's side.
Now, I will say the nice thing about Sigil having that Wonder Sword is eventually this will work. There's nothing that he can run into that he won't eventually beat. Because eventually, if he keeps having trouble, he'll get the knockout in one hit with that Wonder Sword, Ice Sword 2, and then the fight will be fine. But
absolutely.
If you let things get out of hand, which is not going to happen on Batsy's side against another one of those bosses that you'll hear people in chat saying we need to buff.
Yeah, it looks like we went with an Antipode 2, I believe, on the... I'm going to call it the Blue Bull, or whatever it is. Looks like we don't have Flare, I don't think, so we can't necessarily go directly after the Mud Imp to just kind of nuke it out of existence. Although we do have Delta Force, which could be fun. It would take 12 years to cast, but it would be fun.
That might have... I wonder if that was meant to... Because it's an AoE, I wonder if we assumed that the AoE was big enough to hit. Because that's going to be the Mud Beast down. And still some fairly middling rolls from that Ice Sword 2.
Oh, the jerky for Lord Batsy. Another swing and a miss. So this is where I wonder, do we go Moonstone or do we go Aristome? Because both of them are certainly doable. And it does look like we're getting the Moonstone. I like this play because this is something that if an opponent came here early, they would not have this and they would not be doing this. And so you're trying to play to that out. Unfortunately for Lord Batsy right now, we know the answer lies in the one place they haven't gone, which is Aristome. But I also get the Sunkeep play, or the Sun Palace, because it's just so fast. You can't really pass that one up. But I'm very curious what this Moonstone has. I do hope it's the Chrono Trigger for Lord Batsy's sake, so they at least feel a little better with the tech issues and everything else that's happening. Again, the mental side of this is very good to clear up. Plus, we don't know how long Sigil's going to be on this this Atropos fight. These gals are giving him a world of trouble right now.
Now, we're down to just 3 checks in existence on Batsy's side, so Batsy knows that this is a go mode. because the only things left are this, Genodome, and Aristome. And that's probably not going to be worth pursuing, because we'd have to do, yeah, as we reset out, because we'd have to do Xenon Bridge to get the other part of the sword, then you have to forge the Masamune, and then you have to go. I think even doing Genodome would be faster. But
Yeah, we're never going to see Genodome here. Lord Batsy's going to do every check -1 in the seed, and it's just going to feel a little bad, unfortunately, because now they know if you went to the future, you're getting either Black Omen Go mode or Tyrannolair Go mode from the Aristome. That's not a great feeling, unfortunately.
Alright, Sigil's getting ready to start the Lavos 1 fight. This Lavos is going to do 3 things and 3 things only. It's going to do a big AoE hit, and then an AoE obstacle, which does a random status on all 3 of your party members, which is why those amulets and vigil hats are so important. And then it does another big AoE hit. And then that cycle repeats. So hopefully not going to be too much of an issue, but it can be a spicy fight if you're relying on clearing it as fast as possible, and then you just eat some of that damage instead of trying to heal up. So lots of things can happen with this Ice Sword too.
Yeah, the Ice Sword 2 could do 8,671 like it did against the last Atropos, or it could do 2,500 like it just did there. And I do wonder, with the power tabs that we got, with the magic tabs that we got, would it just be better to put that Kali Blade on and just, see, are we getting 4K out of it? Because I feel like if you can get 4K out of that, then you don't care. You don't really need more than that. I do just wonder what that would be. Because, yeah, that 1,500 roll from that Ice Sword 2, that feels really bad.
Yeah. Well, Sigil does have an obligation to the viewers. At a certain
Fair.
point, if you have the Wonder Sword, you feel like you have to use it. And again, it will work eventually. Maybe we have to redo this fight, but it will work eventually.
Yeah, eventually is tough, though. Because eventually, when you're playing casually for the viewers and the fans, and you're playing on your own stream, it's a great time. But eventually, when you are in a race situation against an opponent as good as Lordbatsy, eventually is not something that you want to be thinking about. You want it now, and this is why consistency is so important. In a lot of these randomizers, and yourself and Sigil being no stranger to playing a number of different ones, being each other's rival, you want to be consistent, whether it be this game or any other game. And that Wonder, while yes, it did great things against that Magus fight, and it eventually came through against Atropos, I'm really not sure that it has been a blessing for Sigil like we thought it might be. We've gotten a lot of really bad rolls.
Yeah, I mean, if Chrono is so weapon reliant that if we hadn't found any other Chrono weapons, it would absolutely be worth it.
Sure.
And I can see just saying, I'm gonna get this because if I never find another good Chrono weapon again, he's going to be dead weight. So it's a bit of a coin flip or a dice roll, how and when it will be effective. It's always going to be better than, not having anything.
And it's interesting that this has ultimately resulted in us having a team that is fully dependent on this wonder damage. Frog is in for the healing. Isla's been kicked to the curb. And I do wonder if, maybe there was that play to go 3D attack that, you work with the Chrono, you work with the triple kick off Isla as your base. And since Frog is back in anyway, it just feels like the Wonder has almost been a trap. That if we could have relied on a Kali Blade and, Isla doing some more things, we might have been in a better situation overall. Again, it's impossible to know, It's just always interesting to speculate. So hopefully we get some good rolls here for Sigil though, because this fight is a real tough one, and that 1500 is really not what we wanted to see right off the rip. That means
Yeah.
both arms are going to stay up for at least an entire extra round.
Yeah. What you want to do in this fight is you need to get those arms down as quick as possible. They throw these fun bananas that do a ton of physical damage. I was actually surprised that Mara lived the first hit, but it didn't matter with that second one coming out. Once you get one of the arms down, the other can strip you of your status protection. I'm not sure if it can do it with both of the arms still alive, or if they just keep doing the bananas. And then, once you get both arms down, you can start killing the middle after it does its full party obstacle.
Of course, Confuse pops off when there's 1000 HP left on the arm, and we've just dealt 5000 in overkill. That's fantastic. I'm sure Sigil was overjoyed to see that occur.
And I know we did see a suggestion in chat at one point, which is keep Isla in and just do cube toss as your consistent damage and throw out Confuses.
Yeah.
I mean, cube toss is going to do a pretty good amount of damage. I mean, you don't need to worry about a weapon on Ayla.
Ooh. There's our low roll again.
Yeah. This arm has a little bit more HP. I believe left is 4k and right is 5k. But I know I mentioned earlier the hardest part of these fights is the very beginning of the fight, because you want to get these arms down ASAP. So I've had a few fights where the bananas go on the wrong targets right away, and I just reset, because I know it's going to be faster to just get some better RNG than to try to recover while those arms are still up. So even just having one arm down, it did get that defense status strip on Chrono, which we don't want to see. But at least we're only dealing with one arm.
Yeah, this arm took 3,700 from an Ice Sword 2. It had taken 1,000 from a Confuse, so it has about 300 health left, and then we popped off again right there for 6k on a Confuse. This Wonder is trolling Sigil in a way that you couldn't script it any better to be any trollier. This is definitely going to be something that, should Sigil win, I would love to ask about their thoughts about this Wonder trolling. Should they lose, I will refuse to bring it up.
Yeah. And I think those two Confuses that we've seen, those two really heavy-hitting Confuses in this fight, have been stronger than the last 12 Ice Sword 2s.
Yep. We had one Atropos Ice Sword 2 for 8761. We had one for like 8,000 and change against Magus, and otherwise, we haven't really gotten much more than 3,700 out of these Ice Swords. They have been, I don't want to say pedestrian because they're still very good, but like, where's the wonderment that we were promised with this Wonder?
Yeah, I'd almost just prefer a vanilla rainbow at this point. But I mean, the last time I had a Wonder Sword Seed, it was nothing for most of the run, and then it just obliterated Lavos 3. So, hopefully we get to see some fun coming up.
Yeah, we got another 1,500 roll there from Sigil's Wonder Chrono. We get a 3,200. I think that should be enough to finish this. There we go.
Yeah.
We get a Rainbow Helm. I mean, any defense is good at this point. I think we have a Vigil Helm. I don't know what else we have for hats. I think we got a Wall Hat earlier, but we might still have a space for that Rainbow Helm if we can hit our menu here in between levels 2 and 3. And we do see Fire Sword 2 coming out from lordbatsy for 3,485. That's 3,485 pre-Black Tyranno, pre-Ocean Palace. We missed the menu on Sigil's side. Don't know if it was a miss or we just weren't caring to go for it. But either way, we come into this fight with not a ton of MP on everybody. We are going to be going for an Ice Sword 2 on the middle, so it looks like we're going to get middle strats here from Sigil, and we're going to hope for a big roll. And we get a 2900 roll. It's not really what we were hoping for.
And we're going to see what kind of fun we get from the first 10 seconds of Lavos 3, which is, the worst part. Are you going to get some crazy triple up on the person you care about? As we do go into the future. No, not the past, the other one. Is that just millennial fair? I don't know the proper nomenclature.
I couldn't tell you one way or the other, so your guess is as good as mine, Ceres.
Yeah, but this is where we get the spell that gives everyone status effects. Luckily, the defense strip that removes amulet protection went off on Frog, who I don't believe had any anyway. So getting through here shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, we do at least get to bop the middle here. This is going to kill even if it low rolls based on the damage we've done. Of course, again, it rolls high when we are already like 7,000 damage in. We get the big hit again. Just consistently the worst possible RNG for Sigil while still managing to make their way through things. Either we just rolled the lowest possible thing on the bit there with a wonder, or
its defense was down.
Yeah, so that was what, a 1% roll?
I wonder, are we gonna? Oh no, we're having some fun now. Finally, I was gonna say we're gonna see the high numbers on the final hit, but we got that 6K off there. Will we see the fabled quad 9? But this bit has 20k HP, so we're almost halfway through it at this point.
Oh, that middle coming back already, though, that is rough.
Yeah, we still have a bit of time before the defense comes back, so knowing Sigil, we're just going to try to charge through it. I think the next time warp damage is...
Okay, another 6k hit's good.
The next time warp is, I believe, fractional damage, so we don't have to worry too much about that part. We just want to get that right bit down before the defense comes back up.
Yeah, we are about 15 or 16k in, so I think if we get one more good roll here, we're out on Sigil's side. As we hit the hour and 41 minute mark, well, that is not a good roll. 1500 was very much not what we wanted to see.
It just means, I mean, weren't you the one who said you wanted to see more Jets of Time?
Oh, I did, absolutely. I love it. It's my new favorite game to play, at least right now. So the more I get to see and watch and talk about and play, I'm all for it. Is this our winning blow for Sigil? We have Wonder, Sword, Ice 2, 2524 damage. Not quite enough yet. There is not a lot of HP left on this right bit.
As we get another spell random status that, it's only going to affect Frog. Oh, and now we're going to get to see more Jets of Time as we have to go back to killing the middle bit.
Chrono has decided that he's going to do 1,000 total damage with that Confuse. That was not what we wanted to see.
Alright, this is the time warp that I believe is fractional damage. I mean, we don't usually get to see this much Lavos 3. It either goes south right away, or it goes south for Lavos 3 right away. So,
yeah, anytime the defense comes back up, it gets a little spooky for sure.
Yeah. Is trying to get some more damage out with that Confuse while we're getting everyone's MP and HP back up. Batsy finally getting into the Kingdom of Zeal. I thought for a second Batsy was gonna skip everything else here. Are we going rock hunting?
It looks like it.
Now, fun fact about so the bits in and the arms in Lavos 2 and 3 can strip the status protection from things like Amulet and Vigil Hat. I've discovered that if you die and then revive, the status stripping, it stays. So it's with you the whole fight.
That is not fun.
Yeah. So, you know, honestly, this Lavos 3 is being fairly considerate to Sigil, considering the things it's capable of doing. Sigil has prepared his team pretty well. You know, we've got the AoE heal on Frog for safety. We've got good status protection on everybody, but it's really the Wonder Sword that's making things hell.
Yeah, honestly, I was curious about, is it better to just run that Kali Blade? And more and more looking back at it, it just kind of feels like yes. that Kali Blade would have made this so much easier, just consistently have, 3,000 damage hits. But there it is, Sigil with the 6,200 damage hit is going to be our winner this evening, going to move on to the final four, where I think their opponent is Natorade, I believe. So GG's to Sigil. Very well done.
GG's Sigil. Thank you for representing the Gato Cup, where I was not able to.
And as Chad is pointing out, another overkill hit for the win. That is true. There was not much HP left on that right bit. And of course, that's when the Wonder pops off for 6k there.
Well, again, it's the obligation to the viewers. That's why you do the Wonder Sword. Now, are we going to get Sigil in here for a chat?
Have to imagine so.
Possibly getting all of the cursing done off stream. I mean, yeah, I'll save more of my commentary for when we get to come in here and talk to Sigil.
I, for one, have never heard Sigil swear once. Sigil's a good boy.
Sigil's a good boy when he needs to be.
On commentary. Lord Batsy is making their way into Ocean Palace, so, for everything Lord Batsy has done, and if we compare trackers, it is just one or two things more. Lord Batsy is going to finish just above 2 hours here, I reckon, which is not bad at all.
I didn't see what those levels are on Batsy, but there's no way that Batsy is going to bother doing any grinding.
It's high 20s already. I want to say it was like 28, 29. So they're going to be more than leveled after this. And we are joined by Sigil, the man, the myth, the legend, GG.
It actually worked.
What actually worked? Any of it?
Doing what I'm not supposed to.
You definitely put on a show for us with that Wonder Sword.
Yeah.
But
hey, Sigil, did you know that if your Wonder Sword is going to roll big damage numbers, it's best to do that at the start of fights before things have 200 HP left every time?
I did not know that.
I'm just going to... I know I'm newer to this game than you are, obviously, but I just want to give you my infinite wisdom there. That's how you properly use a Wonder, my friend.
Yes.
So, Sigil, how were you feeling once you got your Go mode? Because you did a fairly quick route to it. I don't know if you've gotten to see Batsy's tracker, but I would say anyone would feel pretty confident getting it when they did.
The only reason why I felt confident because it was so quickly. I hope everything in the present and passed was just dead. Because I know I can't beat Batsy in a straight running the same exact route. So I wanted to take the low percentage plays.
Yeah, I was amazed that Deno wasn't the play, because Deno's been the play so many times this this series. So I'm surprised you didn't bother doing that, but it does make sense. You get pendant, just assume that your opponent is going to be checking some other stuff before they go all the way up there.
Yeah. That's why I didn't do Reptile Lair also, or Hecarim. And with the Wonder Sword, I hope it would be able to carry me.
I mean, the Wonder Sword, the nice thing about the Wonder Sword, even if it's a bit annoying, if you don't find any chrono weapon, his damage is miserable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just goes to show the respect that you have for Batsy as a runner, that you decided to do, such an aggressive play to try to eke out that win.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just an eke. This was a pretty solid win.
Yeah.
Batsy did. Go ahead.
What? I was hoping for bigger hits on Lavos.
Yeah. You were hoping to get that quad 9 that Jazer got the other day?
At least 6,000 multiple times.
Well, you did get a quad 26 on that Confuse.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
It's just like that Confuse. Double digits.
Yeah, as DLK says in the chat, the Wonder Sword was the real final boss.
Yes. I might as well just live with it if I did it for the whole seed.
Yeah. And I think that was a good call. As much as I love Ayla, it was a good call bringing in that frog to help heal. We also had some people in chat saying Cube Toss plus Confuse, and just hoping that the Confuse does fun stuff. But, I mean, what does the audience want to see? You have to know as a runner, people are going to love to see that Wonder Sword.
Yes. And I actually remembered this time that if it's a sword, it's Chronos.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day. It's funny. I wonder sometimes how many of the things that we've learned from, the Batsies and the Fitzes of the world. I think one of the racers in the next race was mentored by Batsy.
It's like, I know Fitz was mentored by Batsy.
We're probably all mentored by Batsy in some way.
Yes, we all are in some way. Where was Luca?
Back at Cathedral. Yeah, Batsy did make the play for Back of Cathedral. I think benefited from it a fair amount, because this is a pretty strong team, but it wasn't enough to overcome the routing excellence you showed to us.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, do you have anything else you want to complain about this run besides the Wonder Sword?
Missing that skip the first time I was going up to the pterodactyl nest.
Yeah, I was surprised you did that after how much I complained about the time I messed it up.
I was hoping my speed was just good enough.
And I think it may have been if you had done a fight before and were on, had your menu memory on item or something. But it's really tricky to start the fight and get into that item menu in time.
Yes, I just really want to just be aggressive.
Yeah. And I think that makes sense, and it did really pay off for you. If you tried to cover all of your bases, it kind of feels like that might have been what Batsy was thinking.
Yeah.
I have great execution. I just need to make sure that I don't miss something crucial. So I'm going to do all of these things, and then Deno gives you your hero medal, gives you your Thomas pop, and suddenly those one or two things become, 10 or 12 things.
Yeah. That's what I learned with playing so many randos. When you feel you're outmatched, just don't care.
Yeah. Is that why you had so much fun with the Tropos?
Which one was that?
Batsy's fighting her right now.
Oh yes. That was more the one the sword was trolling me.
We've got, before we start talking about the next race we've got coming up shortly, Possum, did you have any other questions for Sigil?
The one question I always gotta ask, because you gotta fan the flames. You gotta put it out there for the world to hear, since you're gaining all these new fans with your play. What bulletin board material, what smack talk do you have for your next opponent that you're gonna take down with the power of the Gato Cup?
None.
Well, my mission has failed. Thanks, Sigil.
No. Yeah, no. If I give bulletin board material, it just makes them try harder.
You could throw out a some kind of Yeti criticism, do some cross rando trash talk if you'd like. Lord knows you play enough randos.
But if I can, I would wide delete the Yeti in this game.
But you did save Fitz, so
Yeah.
Fritz. Whichever one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just for the mid-ethers. It was just for the mid-ethers.
I mean, I'll take that. I wouldn't put it past you to do something evil, even if doing the right thing was beneficial.
Yeah. I was thinking about trolling OneFreeFritz. But wasn't the place.
Now, Sigil is going to be joining Possum for a bit of comms while I run away to do something. Batsy's finishing out the seed, and we have a race coming up right after, which is Choco versus Beauty and Discovery. It's going to be another fun one. Yeah, I mean, this has been a great run so far. Sadly, we aren't gonna have to deal with any more Wonder Sword RNG in the rest of this race, but do you have anything that you hope for the seed that I rolled for our next set of runners, Sigil?
A Magus Castle Go mode.
Man of the people.
We haven't seen enough of those lately.
That's true. I'm hoping we'll see a Crisis Rainbow at Hunting Grounds, just so you are forced to watch the racers get a better version of the rainbow than you got.
You're gonna make me cry. Don't worry, the last one seed was a Doom Rainbow.
That's always fun.
And I didn't know at the time.
You saw Doombow and you're like, gosh, that must be a pretty good weapon for Marvel.
No, Doom Sword. I thought it was
gotcha.
I thought it was a frog weapon.
And meanwhile, we've got Batsy doing really showing off the strength of this team, just being able to alternate fire sword, ice sword. Strangely, doing a pretty good amount of damage despite not having a wonder sword.
Well, much like you are carrying me in this commentary, Sigil carried the Wonder Sword across the finish line in the seed. So it's one of those situations where Lord Batsy is not being pulled down and weighted down by said wonderment. Oh, perfect shelter usage. The last shelter gone on the last save point. You'll love to see it.
This Lavos too should be a bit more controlled. Marl and Luca are a bit on the weaker side in terms of HP and physical defense, but we have very consistent damage here. So we don't have to deal with any, 26 damage confuses or anything. Yeah, the sweet spot here for damage is doing 4,000 because that knocks out the left arm in one hit.
Yeah, unfortunately we land at 3,700. We do mid-tonic Marl, who then gets targeted by both bananas anyway, as if the boss was just saying, haha, unfortunate to be you. But Lord Batsy should be dropping the left arm here with almost any attack, and then that will make the rest of this fight substantially easier.
Yeah, it seems like Lavos has it out for Marl tonight, since I believe Marl got double targeted on Sigil's side as well, so...
Yes, and I even healed.
Hopefully for her sake, she hides from our next set of runners.
Love to see that Aura Whirl come out. 500 AoE healing. It requires 2 characters, but it's still a very nice heal to have. Basically a full heal on the party. We see the bananas come out on Chrono this time. Looks like we are considering what we want to do here. Ice Sword 2 is what we land on, and probably see some sort of move to do enough damage here to wipe out the remaining 1,200 HP on the right arm. Looks like we're going to get some healing first, though. And yeah, those full tonics rolling 270 is brutal, because I think they normally do like 500.
I wouldn't be surprised if the mid-tonics rolled higher than that.
The mid-tonics was 210.
Okay, so pretty close. At least we had high tap rolls today.
And Lapis M's.
Yeah, the Lapis M's helping to make up for the 7 MP ethers. Now, I'm not sure if, because the race was scheduled for 4 minutes ago, we might end up jumping into the middle of the next race. I'm not sure what exactly is going to happen, so we'll get to do some speedy commentary once Batsy finishes up this Lavos fight. But thankfully, she's such a veteran runner that I don't think we have to worry about her having too much trouble on this fight.
And mainly there's no wonder to have to troll Lord Batsy.
Okay, it looks like the racers agreed to wait until this one finished. Now, Sigil, if Lapises had been HP Lapises, do you think you would have kept Ayla?
No.
Okay.
Because I didn't have enough to actually cover.
Because I know you'll go to great lengths to keep Ayla in your party.
But I didn't have, with the Wonder Sword being so up and down, I wasn't too sure how long the fights would take. So I want to be more of a steady approach.
And it did mean that you got to just, you know, you didn't have any extra damage in the mix. You were just committing to the Wondersword bit.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest. We saw some great rocks this seed. You know, we got the blue rock right away. Didn't really get to use any of them. So what I'm hoping we get from the next race is some kind of Exodia type strat with a Omega Flare or Grand Dream or Spin Strike.
What were the other rocks?
I believe we saw a silver rock on Deno, and I don't remember what we saw in. And I think there was a gold rock somewhere as well.
Yeah, there was gold for sure. But I think the secondary effect was like plus 10 hit or something, so it was pretty useless.
And Batsy did get the rock in the place that we always go to that I don't remember the name of in Zeal. It's funny, I only remember on Hassa, which is the one that people don't usually go to. Batsy, you did get the menu glitch here, so is able to fully heal up and recover.
Which was fairly necessary, too, because they were down quite a bit on MP and HP.
Yeah, which shows the confidence they have in themselves to execute that. It's, you know, it's not the wildest thing in the world, but the timing is pretty tight, and this is, if you're going to be making mistakes anywhere, it's going to be right before the final fight.
Oh, we have hit that magic 4,000 HP threshold on our Fire Sword 2 there. So just enough oomph to get us across the line. That means we're only dealing with 2 hits on the middle bit and 5 hits on the right. Now, unfortunately, Luca decided that she wanted to take a nap. This is a very inopportune time to be napping, as we still have work to be done here.
Yeah, hopefully this Ice Sword 2 should finish off the middle bit. At the very least, it'll be 1 hit away. Oh, perfect. We hit the magic 8,000. So we should have some time to recover. Where it really gets nasty is if you eat the double up onto someone and then you're stuck trying to recover while the boss starts doing, you know, status protection, destruction, super high damage, and you're just in that recovery hell. It's a bit easier to get your bearings once the middle is actually down.
Yeah, it does look like we have haste that came out on Chrono. We see life coming out here. And Fire Sword 2 is going to be our choice of damage, and I assume Marl is going to look to do some sort of healing here. Probably on Chrono, or we look to do... Yeah, it looks like an elixir comes out. Refill that MP as well, since we were down to 15 MP.
And with this coming right down to the end, I'm going to hand it off to Sigil to cover me for a bit. So hopefully by the time I get back, we'll have people already spamming Omega Flare in the next race.
Yes.
Alright, be back in a bit.
Alright, well, welcome to the fun on the other side, Sigil.
Thank you. And we have the big middle thing coming back up.
And taking a heal there, which means it is going to need 3 hits to go down this time. Marl going to have a choice here of either hasting or using some sort of healing on Luca, I would imagine. Oh, that's a large hit on Marl.
Yeah.
We might want to go for an Aura Whirl at some point soon.
And that was good use of just using the regular Ice Sword.
Yeah, no need to overkill with the Confuse and use all of that MP. We can be a little bit more stingy with our MP there. Looks like the defense has been shut off after being turned back on. So thank you, Lavos, for being a bit of a troll here.
Hmm?
And another ISO 2 here. I think this is number 5. We might need one more because of our damage range. We are going Antipode 2, it looks like. So this might do it. This probably covers the remaining, what would it be, 12 to 1400 health? Yeah, and there it is, Lord Batsy coming across the finish line, having completed every check in the game, basically, except for Genodome. Probably not what they wanted to do when they started to seed, but sometimes these things just don't quite work out the way you want them to. We'll see if we can get Lord Batsy in here for an interview, but GG's to them, finishing officially in 2:08:57. So only 23 minutes behind, given that they did about 10 more checks. That just shows, how good of a runner Lord Batsy is
Yeah,
to put up that time with all of that stuff done.
yes, and that's why I'm afraid of them.
You played really well, Sigil. You did.
Yes.
You can't take that away from
No,
yourself. But
no,
Lord
that's,
Batsy really showing their true colors here.
yes. That's why I rounded the way I did.
And we are now joined by Lord Batsy. GG's to you, Lord Batsy. Very, very well executed.
GG's.
I well, that happened. But
You committed to no future, and unfortunately, that was not it. I have been there exactly in that situation,
you have to
and
commit to something, right? Because
you have
then
to.
it would have been no future or no mountains. Mountains have been really good. Not today, though. Not today.
I committed to no present and past.
I mean, that was probably the play.
Yes.
I started digging into like Desert and Prism Shard because like I had the characters up front, and well, didn't pan out this time. But every time you pick a check, you don't pick another check, and like
Yeah.
eventually, yeah.
It was because I was going against you. I did that because I know
Well,
I couldn't keep up and found the same exact route.
that was a good call then, because I did like just about everything or checked everything except Genodome. It was I did my best to do it fast, but I it was a lot.
Yeah.
But GG's and like congratulations on moving forward. That's really cool. So
Thank you.
yeah. All right.
The one that sword trolled me so hard this seed.
Oh no. Oh, I thought about it for a split second. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know if I can trust that right now.
I got quad 26.
Okay.
Confused on a Lavos core.
Hey. Oh, all right.
Lord Batsy, I did want to ask because we noticed that you were rock hunting fairly aggressively even up till the end.
Mhm.
Get the rocks that you were looking for early. Was there a particular thing in mind? And then the rock
Mm.
at the end, was that just a meme to see what it was, assuming that
I
maybe the race was already decided?
I wanted a rock with like sunshades or prism specs on it.
Mm,
I wanted like a damage up rock. Um, not so much a triple tech, but yeah, something to give me more damage.
absolutely makes sense.
But yep, I had my like party in order, gear in order, and then I just couldn't get go mode in order.
Yeah, I mean, you still executed phenomenally. Like for someone, in my shoes, who's relatively new to this game. It's fun to watch when someone executes at an extremely high level. So while Go mode may not have cooperated, uh, and the tech issues may not have cooperated, you still played magnificently
Yeah, thank you.
for everything that was going on. Other than Go mode, which routing is an entirely different thing, and sometimes it is just RNG and luck based.
Yep.
Everything else was great. So it was a pleasure to watch.
Well, thank you very much. And like GG again, Sigil. It's always cool to see a recent Gato Cup graduate plowing through a tournament.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, I will get us moving on to our second race. Before we do, though, Lord Batsy and Sigil, do y'all have any final thoughts on this race, or Lord Batsy, on the tournament as a whole, as you will be making your exit here? Any thoughts at all about the whole shebang?
Um, I mean, it's always really exciting when we have single elimination because upsets are really upsetting. And if you call this an upset, then like that's always really exciting. And I think that we're gonna continue to see some pretty exciting matches. So yeah, this is gonna be good.
I just want to thank you. Thanks, Ceres, and you Pasta for the comms, and Fitz for doing the back end things to get this on air, and Batsy for being easy to schedule with.
I do my best.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you both for, again, an awesome race. GG's to both of you. Thank you, Fitz, for the behind the scenes, Ceres for co-coms, and again, it's everyone doing everything you can to put on a great show. It's been wonderful to hop into this community and be able to be blessed with the opportunity to do comms for such an awesome race. So thank you everyone once again, and we are going to swap restreamers here in preparation for our second race, which is Chokosura and Beauty and Discovery. So let's not hold them up anymore, and we're going to go ahead and cut for a brief moment, but stick around because we'll be coming right back.